Hi, welcome to Box on the Box Rock and Celluloid, Botbrack for short. I'm over Box. So doing my semi-regular Box Watch feature, just going to go through some of the things I've been watching, give a bit of feedback, and if you've not seen certain programmes or there's things you're looking to see, straight me gigs, you may choose to heed my advice or not. I'll go through TV stuff first. First thing I watched recently was Screw, second series on Channel 4. So you've not seen Screw. It's got Jamie Lee O'Donnell from Derry Girls in it. It's a prison set drama. It's a bit of comedy sometimes, but mostly drama. It's really good. The acting's good. The characters are good. And it's got gripping storylines. 6 episodes a season. So you probably find it on more for. I recommend this show. I think one of the themes of this Box Watch is how good terrestrial TV's been recently. Which brings me to Top Boy. So Top Boy started off on Channel 4, then it moved to Netflix. So what happened was the 2 original series of Top Boy became Top Boy Summer House, which you can catch on Netflix, and then the 3 new series, which are 10 years later, were branded as Top Boy. If you've not watched this show, this is an outstanding British show. People comparing it, calling it the British Wire, which I wouldn't go that far, but it's very good. Great lead performance from Ashley Walters. The other 2 principal leads are really good. It's got gripping plots, really good characters, satisfying plot payoffs, if you've not seen it, just go for it. I think you would probably have about a 50 episode binge and you won't be disappointed. Next thing I watched was Lincoln Lawyer. I was looking for something to watch. This is okay, kind of 6, 7 out of 10. It's kind of like a show you'd get in the 90s or noughties before streaming. So it's got a streaming style length of 10 episodes a series. There's 2 series, I think they're doing a 3rd one. But the kind of tone and feel of it is more like when you used to have NBC and so on, doing 22 episodes a season. It's okay, the characters are quite likeable. If you've seen a Lincoln Lawyer film with Matthew McConaughey, it's basically like that. He's a guy, he's got a Lincoln, but he doesn't do business out of it. And Matthew McConaughey, when he does, sometimes he drives his Lincoln. But it's an okay show. It's one of those things that's not too taxing. Next one, Blackbird. This is an Apple TV. I managed to blag this. Really good show with Taron Egerton and an outstanding performance by Paul Walter Hauser. Basically, Taron Egerton's a drug dealer. He ends up in prison. To get time off, he gets put to another prison and needs to try and get confession evidence on a possible serial killer and where he's hidden bodies. It's really good. I love Paul Walter Hauser. I thought he was great in Richard Jewell. He's great fun in Cobra Kai. Rumour is he's going to be the lead in the new Tarantino film, and I think that'll be perfect. A great sort of character actor. Taron Egerton as well, doing a spot on American accent, really good. Then the next thing we watched is something called Dear Child. This is a German thriller, 6 parts on Netflix. I thought this was very good. If you've seen the show The Missing, the British show with Tetchy Caro, James Nesbitt in the original one, it's kind of got vibes of that. It's influenced by Scandi Noir. It's basically the effects of the crime. So you're getting the investigation of the crime in flashback, but it's really about the effects it has on people as well. It's pretty disturbing. Each episode kind of leaves you wanting to know what's gone on. Each episode kind of reveals different aspects of different characters. Worth watching, again, just 6 episodes. A really good, solid European addition to the Netflix canon. Next up, I'm recommending The Bear. This is a show that's got big critical acclaim. There's just 2 series of this. Every episode's half an hour, apart from the Christmas special. There's only 8 episodes of series, I think, certainly in series 1. I'm nearly at the end of series 2. The last episode I watched was one of the best pieces of TV I've watched in a while. Cast is great. Jeremy Allen White, I hadn't heard of him before, but he was in Shameless. There's a guy playing a character called Richie. I don't know his name, actually, he's great fun. Oliver Platt has a kind of supporting performance. Great to see him again. Such a good character actor, such a likeable presence. This show's really good. It's comedy and drama. It's got dark elements, there's a lot of laughs, and it's a foodie. If you're into food, it's got that focus on the food element, because they run a restaurant and it's originally a kind of burger steak joint, and they're going to turn it into a fancy restaurant. When we watched the first episode, didn't like it at all. There was a lot of shouting. I thought, kind of take this, but when we went to the second episode, everything calmed down. You started to get into the characters, and it's very character driven. You can see the writers are starting to get a grip of the characters and writing for the actor and the character, and I think there's quite a bit of improv in this. Really good. I think he's won Emmys. Excellent. Then the other show is quite surprising I enjoyed is The Full Monty Show. I wasn't really a big fan of The Full Monty film. It was kind of one of those Brit coms, admittedly with like a good kind of social conscience. But I found myself coming into this, my wife was watching it, and I started really enjoying the episode, and I like the way it fleshed out the characters from the film. It was quite a pleasure to see them again. These are actors we've come to know better and are older now. And it's good in the times we live in. It's got a good, again, the social commentary aspect of it works very well. It's interesting, one of the writers on it is Alice Nutter, who was formerly of the anarchist band Chumbawamba, so it's quite interesting. And then it's also the original Full Monty writer. But this is good. It's a good mix of drama and comedy. It's a good show. Next up, I'll come to actually in my list, I'll jump ahead. Woman in the Wall. This starred Ruth Wilson, again terrestrial TV on BBC One. Really about the scandal of Magdalene asylums. If you've never seen the film The Magdalene Sisters, directed by Peter Mullen, strongly recommend that. This is pretty good. It's a bit far-fetched, then there's a really convoluted plot point in it, which I thought, well, that's a bit mad. But it was moving, and again, the treatment of women, the treatment of young women by the Catholic Church, by nuns, by other women, it's just scandalous. And it captured the hurt and the pain and the psychological damage that's caused. Again, it caught the effects on people. Very good performance from the guy playing the cop. He's in with Love Leo Grande. Forgot the title of the film with Emma Thompson. It'll come to me his name, hopefully. But he's good. He's a good presence. Striking looking guy. Maybe he could be Bond. Who knows? Okay, so Woman in the Wall, a couple of reservations about plot points, but it was good. Okay, so the two sort of, obviously, well, The Bear's outstanding and stuff, and there's been some outstanding stuff, but the two ones that have really stuck out are The Reckoning and The Long Shadow, one from BBC, one from ITV. And I think it's interesting to watch these close together. They're not easy viewing, but they're both, the period they're set in, the social attitudes they reflect, and how damaging that has been, and the effects that's caused. That's why I would recommend these, but make sure you intersperse these with something fun. So, of course, The Reckoning is the Jimmy Savile programme. I prefer if the Beeb hadn't done it. It might have been nice if an outside party had done it. There's always going to be that argument that the Beeb let themselves off the hook. Outstanding performance by Steve Coogan. We know him and Rob Brydon can do impressions, and they've done Jimmy Savile for fun, but he properly kind of does the Savile speech, but the way he plays him off camera when he's not on camera is great, and he's got the walk, and it's just very disturbing. It only really reveals some of the stuff he does, and we may never know everything he's done. But really good. Just shows how, if you're in a position of authority, you can kind of intimidate people in a sort of male-driven society, in entertainment. People who get abused are too afraid to come forward because no one will abuse them, or particularly embarrassed, or there may be a parents thought they're going to be okay, and then they don't want to upset their parent. There's elements like that. And then getting access to the corridors of power, his friendship with Thatcher, he met the Pope. We know the story, but this is really good. So I recommend it. And then The Long Shadow is about the hunt for the Yorkshire Ripper. So there's a really good Netflix documentary about this a couple of years ago which I watched. But the problem with the Netflix documentaries, it can be a little sensationalist, and it doesn't totally get into the effects that it's had on victims, families, and so on. So what was really good about this is it was done in your police procedural historical thriller style, but it looks at mistakes, but it looked at the effects like a Scandinavian on the families, particularly the first victim that we knew about. Her children got took into care, they got split up, it caused terrible problems. There's one woman accused of being attacked, and she's accused of being a prostitute. She wasn't. They were biased, they didn't care as much about the victims of the prostitutes. It was only when someone they decreed as an innocent young girl was murdered. They interviewed him several times. It throws up loads of stuff, but what it really shows is how institutional sexism, misogyny, institutional racism to a certain degree has affected the investigation of this crime. Of course, they don't have access to the policing technology we have now, but the information was there, and then prejudice and oversight and kind of top-down politics got in the way of it, and some of the female officers could have been used as in a better way to get information. I think it shows the other thing: you need diversity in the workplace. You need men, you need women, you need people with different ethnicities because they have different perspectives, and that helps solve crime better. There's actually articles, or there's a thing on this in Matthew Sage's book about the FBI. After 9/11, everyone there was white, everyone was from a certain background, and it meant there was holes in their kind of vision. Okay, and I think that sort of came across in this Long Shadow. But outstanding. This is my TV programme of the year. I don't think it's been beaten. It was a hard watch, and I felt quite emotional afterwards, and I felt sort of bereft. There's a horrid fascination to the Ripper, but it's horrible. And I lived at that time. I remember I was just a young lad, but a real time and place in British society. But just one thing as well, the programme as well, it's good it's come out now, because again, the kind of socio-economic situation in the 1970s, there's mirrors to it now. So yeah, watch this show. The only thing is, I think it's on ITVX, which means you have to watch fucking adverts, and ITVX adverts last ages, but anyway, do it. Okay, so that's the TV. I missed a few things, but they weren't that great. I just want to keep it good. Films. You Are So Not Going to My Bar Mister. This is an Adam Sandler comedy on Netflix. You're not seeing it. It's a lot of fun. It's a good family comedy with a Jewish slant. Obviously, Adam Sandler's Jewish. It's very funny. It's kind of looking at that culture. So I enjoyed that. Dungeons and Dragons. This trailer was quite funny at the pictures. Glad I didn't pay to see it. It's kind of a 5 out of 10. It's got some good elements, but it doesn't really hit the spot. We've got She Said. This is the Carey Mulligan, Zoe Kazan about the Harvey Weinstein investigation. I think the problem with this film is it's a 2-hour film. I thought the direction was a bit prosaic. This should have been a limited series. This could have been a great Sky Atlantic 6-part, 4-part, 8-part, or even. And then, the end of the first episode would have been like, oh, it's some big Hollywood exec or something, that kind of thing. We know the story quite well with this, so it kind of would have been better to expand it and, get into all the details. Watched Into the Wild again, Sean Penn's film, I think it's 2008, about the guy, he nicknames himself Alexander Supertramp, and he goes off into the wild to live off the land and uses his, he gives away his trust fund money. Really good film, quite powerful. It's actually based on a novel by John Krakauer, the investigative journalist. If you've not seen this film, really interesting. It's rejection of materialistic values of the main character's rejection of the typical American dream scenario. Next up, quite a lot of fun. Megan, this horror film. This is quite satirical. Basically, it's like a robotic doll, kind of like Chucky but better. We enjoyed this. It was quite a lot of fun. Wasn't scary, but kind of funny in places. So yeah, Megan's a lot of fun. Worth checking out. Then, film I hadn't watched, it's been on the list for ages, knew it'd be rubbish, and it was, but I really enjoyed it, is Final Score. So Final Score is a Sky Cinema film with Dave Bautista and Pierce Brosnan. It's basically Die Hard at a football match. I think it's West Ham. So imagine Die Hard on a low budget at a British football game. If you can put all that sound, it's good. Then there was Relic. I actually missed the start of this film, but when I watched the rest of it, it's not The Relic, the Tom Sizemore film. This is Relic. This is a horror, folky kind of horror starring Emily Mortimer. This was really good, creepy, unusual, different, with some interesting visuals. Evil Dead Rise. This is another one, went to Netflix, but been to the cinema. I thought this was pretty good. I thought the Fede Alvarez remake of Evil Dead was good. I think it was 2013. He's doing the new Alien Romulus. This, it was set in an apartment block, and yeah, it had some interesting moments in it. Not great, 6 out of 10, but it's decent enough. 65, Adam Driver. This is the Spaceman and Dinosaurs film. It was pretty shit. That's all I'll say about that. If you like dinosaurs, you like spacemen, fine. What's the next one? Oh, there's something here called Concrete Plans. That was pretty good, actually. Concrete Plans, this was set in Wales, and they were doing work on a farmhouse for some kind of yuppie, and everything goes tits up. It was on Film 4. Pretty good. Then I finally got around to watching The Novice. This kind of was a kind of hit at Sundance. It's about a girl who goes to university and gets obsessed with getting better at rowing and joining a rowing team for the kind of prestige and the career sort of things that'll provide, you know, when you go on in life. And it's like, I was on the top rowing team. I didn't recognise Isabel Thurman at first, and she's the girl who plays the orphan in Orphan, a film I really like. So it's worth checking out. It's well directed. It's got good visuals. The central performance is outstanding. Watched Hereditary again. I still can't work out if it's crap, genius, or a game of two halves. But it's just one of those films you have to see and make up your own mind. So if you've not seen Hereditary, Ari Aster, he also did Midsommar. Then I'm skipping another film, The Mustang. This was a film, a prison set drama. I always like a bit of a prison drama with Matthias Schoenaerts in. He basically plays a criminal, a con. He's in prison. He gets put on a program to try and break wild Mustangs, train them. So it was quite an effective look at like how that can be a rehabilitative thing. Not great shakes, but good drama with an interesting thing. Watched The Exorcist again. Hadn't watched it for a while. Still 2 points. So that's still a kind of masterpiece, still a really important horror film. But what's really interesting about it, if you've not seen The Exorcist or if you're watching it again, is how the structure is just not like a horror film now. It's got the jump scares. Maybe it has later, I suppose, but it just takes ages to get going. It's just very 70s, like Jaws, even like Star Wars takes ages to get going, you remember. And it's not Max von Sydow, you know, the iconic image on the poster, and that is an iconic film image. You know, he doesn't turn up to the last half hour. You know, just a really interestingly structured film, very little underscoring, you know, just the kind of antithesis of what horror films are like now. Then went to the pictures. I went to the pictures much recently. Saw The Great Escaper with Michael Caine and Glenda Jackson. We went because obviously Glenda Jackson's final film, she sadly passed away, and Michael Caine said it's his last one. And this was quite a lovely little film. It was a little darker. I was expecting it to be this kind of japey thing, or the old guy's going off to do the D-Day celebration. He's breaking out of his home, and it's not really like that. Basically, he couldn't get on a kind of trip, so he took himself off. Didn't tell the home, and I don't know how much of the story is fact or fiction within the story, but it took time to really look at the cost, the horrors of war. Around this time, you tend to get a lot of patriotism about war-based things and, you know, veterans, and, you know, this like looks at like, you know, it's a fucking horrible thing, and he's going there to remember his, you know, his fallen comrades. Monster, finally got around to watching that. Charlize Theron, never watched it, her Oscar-winning performance. Patty Jenkins, good director, not as good as Boys Don't Cry. Charlize Theron and Christina Ricci, both outstanding. You know, if you've not seen it, it's worth checking out. And Morris Peros, hadn't watched this since it came out of the pictures, so it was interesting to watch this again. Really tough to watch all the dogfighting stuff. This is the debut film by Alessandro Inarritu, who, you know, went on to win the Oscar for The Revenant and Birdman with his top long takes. Really good, three interconnecting stories, interesting, brilliant cinematography, acting, sense of place, obviously critically acclaimed at the time, really good. Then Patriot Games, hadn't seen Patriot Games in years, saw the pictures in 1992 when it came out, probably saw it again, maybe once or twice, but I don't think I've seen this for well over 20, 25 years. It's a decent thriller. It was a kind of 7 out of 10 decent thriller at the time. It didn't quite have the high octane action of other action films at that time, which maybe people were like, oh. But as a thriller, obviously it ventures into the Irish politics thing, which is always dodgy when American films tend to do that. It handles that okay. Harrison Ford's good. It's quite interesting watching it. You realise how kind of conservative, not right-wing Jack Ryan is, but how kind of conservative and straight he is, I suppose, as a character. Enjoyed Sean Bean and Patrick Bergen's performances, and Polly Walker, really good looking, really hot as well. And I watched Clear and Present Danger as well. That's the best Jack Ryan film. That's a really good thriller. But The Pope's Exorcist, this is a ridiculous Russell Crowe horror. This was really bad. I was enjoying Russell Crowe's performance in this, actually. He's obviously realised it's shit, so he has a lot of fun with it. He does an Italian accent. He kind of rides a Vespa. It's kind of one of those bad films you've got to see. Watched Serpico again. I missed the 50th anniversary. If you've not seen Serpico, this is Al Pacino's all-time great 1973 cop film, up with the French Connection up there. Really great, fantastic performance by Pacino. Superb direction by Sidney Lumet. It's about cop corruption. Really good. 70s classic. Pacino's amazing in this film. Cocaine Bear, that's one of those films where from the title you've got to see it. This is a lot of fun. It was a comedy, 6, 7 out of 10. Not great shakes, but fun cast. The cast kind of having fun. The bears were funny, had funny deaths. Just a film not taking itself seriously. I think Elizabeth Banks, as though directs it, has quite a bit. She's got a good talent as a director. She's not got any kind of great visual sort of flair as such, but she knows how to work with actors, and she knows how to approach the material. I think she did Pitch Perfect 3, and it'll be interesting to see what else she does. Then the biggie at the Pictures, Killers of the Flower Moon. I would have done a review of this, but I saw it about a week or two after it came out. This film you've got to see. It's Scorsese, it's DiCaprio, it's De Niro. It's a really interesting story. The acting's stellar. It's got a great final score by Robbie Robertson, great cinematography. It's got all those Scorsese elements that you expect. The problem is it's too long. It's 3 hours and 26 minutes, and a half hour, 45 minutes. Lopoff would have just tightened it up. And it didn't feel 3 hours and 26 minutes, but it felt 2 hours and 40. And the whole point is when you have a really long film, it shouldn't feel that long. But it's an interesting story, very ambiguous characters. I kind of gave it, I think if it had been trimmed the time, I'd give it an 8 or 8 plus, but I'm kind of on a 7. But it's Marty, you've got to see it. Then I saw Pearl, which is the sequel, the prequel to X with Mia Goth. This was as bonkers as X, not as good, but good fun. This is about how Pearl, the old lady psycho in X, became, a psycho. Quite funny, quite kind of elements of satire in the visuals. And then finally, No One Will Save You, which I just watched the other night on Disney, which, God, I should know the name of the actress. She's in Unbelievable. She's in Ticket to Paradise. She's a really great young actress. She's in Booksmart as well. Really good. This is a weird alien invasion film. This wasn't what I expected. It's quite bonkers actually, so I'd recommend it. It's different and worth seeing. Okay, so that's my trawl through stuff. 22 minutes. Okay, it's been worse. I try and keep this down, but I watch a lot of stuff. So probably be back in the new year sometime with another box watch, and obviously keep share and subscribe, and I'll see you again soon. Thanks very much. Bye.